Introducing the all-new Corolla.
Imminent. So I'm cautiously optimistic that it will not happen based on where we are, based on the communications that we have had with them.
GMH Administrator Joe Vergas says the loan documents were sent back to the Bank of Guam yesterday because of minor details that needed to be clarified. The hospital is in the process of receiving a $25 million loan from the Bank of Guam to help pay off its long-standing debt. The loan is a critical step not only because it will put the cash-strapped hospital in good standing for the first time with vendors in decades, but also because federal garnishments are set to kick in at the beginning of January if Perry Point, a federally owned medical provider, is not paid off. How much is owed to Perry Point?
At this time we're 5.2 or 5.3 million. It was as high as a little 6.5 million, but we had paid that down between a combination of the garnishments and payments that we had made.
If Perry Point is not paid off at the end of this month, it will trigger automatic garnishments of GMH's Medicare reimbursements, something the hospital cannot afford to lose.
All of this is in a computer in Washington, okay? And because Perry Point being a federal government provider, of course, that when a certain time goes by and where the computer automatically recognizes a certain level of debt, then all of a sudden it kicks in automatically an action. Because of the hardwire process being what it is, that it could possibly happen again.
The good news, however, is that unlike the last time this happened, this time Perry Point is aware that a loan is in the negotiation process and will soon be deposited into GMH coffers.
The loan is imminent, they know that, and they also know that as per board resolution and my assurances, they will be the first paid once the loan is obtained.
Vergas says a loan was sent back to Bank of Guam yesterday and was still being reviewed as of this morning. Once they are through with it, it will be given back to the AG's office for review, then on to the governor for final approval. He explains what changes needed to be made.
They have to do with assigning security, and they're just more technical in nature. But we have to make sure that some lawyers at the Bank of Guam interpreted our negotiations another way other than we had interpreted it. So,
while Governor Eddie Calvo may not have a chance to sign the loan before the end of the year, Vergas says GMH is in a better position now with the federal government than it was in before.
I'm not too optimistic that we're going to get the loan before the end of the year, so I don't really think that's going to happen based on, I mean, it could, but I'd be very surprised if it did. However, based on my communications with Perry Point and the federal government, that I'm cautiously optimistic that the garnishment won't kick in.
But if it does,
but no one wants to see that happen, but no one can guarantee that it won't.
Right.
But if it does happen, it just means that we have to have the federal government's cooperation to go in and remove it again, which they did before.